About today, we take a quick look at some some quick wins that you can make on your on page that are not so obvious, but they're really simple and really easy to implement. A lot of this stuff comes from core reports and just extended experience of dealing with on page and what goes into a site. Where most of what we're looking at here are like trust factors, like things that Google looks to see on a site that give credence and legitimacy to the business itself as an entity. So if you had there are thousands of spam sites that are out there on the internet, and they're kind of like lead gen sites that kind of give the appearance of being a business, but they're not actually a business. And when they lack these certain elements, that's how Google can tell that they're not legit, and maybe that these sites should be less prioritized in the SERPs. So if you are a legitimate business, you want to give Google the indicators that you're a legit business. You run a upstanding business, and you're looking for clients and you're there. So these are elements that should be on your site to indicate to Google that you are legit. So let's get into it here. So some of these are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The first one is that your website should have an SSL certificate, and that's going to be on the lock symbol up here. That's up there in the search bar. If that is unlocked, that means that you are on HTTP and you do not have an SSL certificate. This is important to have an SSL certificate because it tells Google that you're careful with your client's information. Like if for example, if you're running a business that takes like credit card processing, it's much more difficult for that to get hacked into if you have an SSL certificate and you're on an HTTPS. So this is and like throwaway sites, spam sites, the owners of those sites don't typically bother to buy SSL certificates for them because they're not expecting them to last very long. So the fact that you've taken the step to go out and get an SSL certificate and increase the security on your site means that you're trying to take care of the site, and it's there for the duration. Another quick one is an about page. If you're running a business site and there's no about the business on there, then that's kind of a giveaway that you're just kind of like a fly-by-night operation, and the site's just going to last for as long as it's going to last. Whereas if you're a legit business that's been around for a while, or you've got a story, there are other reasons why you want to have this, because stories are what sell. But on the legitimacy front, the fact that you have a story, that you are a business, and these are the people that are involved in the business, it just takes it one step further to show that this is legit. Likewise, there should be a contact page. If you have a site and there's no way to contact the entity behind it, that's another dead giveaway that the site's not legit. So there should be some sort of contact page, preferably with multiple modes of contact. There should be some sort of submission form. There should be a phone number on there. Another thing you put on there are actual email addresses. We don't typically do that on our end. We like to keep the lead tracking as down as possible. But these are all good ways. Like, the more contact methods you can put on your contact page, the better, because that just shows Google that people can get in touch with you if they have issues with your site or they want to get a hold of you. Google sending them to an actual business that's going to talk to them. Some other quick ones you can do. There needs to be a copyright down in your footer or somewhere. And preferably Google wants to see the actual word copyright and not just the copyright symbol by itself. And then obviously you want to keep that up to date. So, it's January of 2023 right now. So if your site hasn't updated to 2022 in its copyright, you should get on that. But having a copyright down there is another good trust indicator. Same thing for a privacy policy. Your site should have a privacy policy. That's just that's a basic thing that every legitimate website should have on it. It's super easy to get these. It doesn't take any time at all to find content for a privacy policy page. There are plenty of templates out there. You can just adapt it to your business and your location. So there's absolutely no reason not to have a privacy policy on your site. And the same thing for terms of use. This is another basic thing that your site absolutely should have on it. That takes all 5 minutes to set up. Just saying this page is basically just telling when you use this website, these are kind of the terms you're accepting when you access our content. So that should be on there. And then of course the social media. You should preferably have at least a Facebook, a Twitter, a YouTube, and a LinkedIn. Pretty much if you're a business of any size at all, you've probably got all 4 of those, or at least some of those. And if you can have all 4 of those, it's even better. But most businesses nowadays are active on social media. They have actual profiles out there. And if you haven't taken the step to set those up, it just kind of makes Google wonder if you're a legit business that's interested in customers. You know, a lot of the fake spam sites out there don't have these because there's nothing behind them. So you should absolutely have, you know, the social media up on your site and live. All right, so those are just kind of the quick, obvious things that you can add to your site to make it clear to Google that you are a legitimate business entity and that it should take your site seriously. Guys?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, some great points. Willie, you mentioned about like the SSL certificate. Just one thing to mention there is that there is like free versions of SSL certificates that people can take advantage of. They're known as the Let's Encrypt certificate. So the internet is in general is trying to make the internet more secure. So you can definitely take advantage of that. Also, where after installing an SSL certificate, you may run into mixed content errors where you have an SSL certificate installed, but it's not showing up on your website. A simple search and replace can fix an issue like that.
Great. So Willie, I hear lately that the privacy policy is actually like a ranking factor. Is that, you see that as the case?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing for terms of use. Those are both ranking factors, and they're just trust indicators.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't have those on your site, Google and other search engines are less likely to trust your site, and as a side effect of that, you will rank less well than you would have if you had with those elements on there.
Great, awesome. Nice job, Willie. Very helpful. Even though it was beginner information, I think it's very helpful for a lot of people. So thanks.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely just quick, easy things you can get up on there that are maybe not very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I found on our sites too is a lot of the times we're calling like terms of use disclaimer. Apparently, it should be terms of use, so we need to change that on some sites yet. And similar for the copyright, we're often just using the copyright symbol, and we need to actually write out copyright.
Interesting. Thanks, Willie.
Yeah, thanks, Willie. That's awesome.